Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time I'm going to be taking the first of two looks through my early and vintage Panther paperbacks. Now, the early ones in particular weren't exactly printed on particularly good paper, and some of these have never ever been cleaned. So I'm hoping to really sort of bring the collection out a little bit and brighten it up, because they're not in the greatest of shape. But anyway, we're going to look through them. I've split it into two halves simply because the early ones are going to take quite a bit of time to go through. And anyway, that's what we're going to be looking at today, so I do hope you enjoy it. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so these are in numerical order, and they initially printed, I think, like from like 1 to 100, and then the numbering jumped up to 500 for some unknown reason. I think it was a case of the publisher got the numbering to start at 500 to make it look as if the list was a little bit more established than it actually was. Now, this is a very early one here. I'm assuming that's Arthur. Oh no, it's not Arthur C. Clarke, it's like A.V. Clarke. So it's not Arthur C. Clarke, but Kenneth Bulmer. And you can see what these are like. They're very, very thin. It's almost like a pulp book. And the actual quality of the paper is really, really awful. I mean, it's just doesn't... It's got a few pages missing. It doesn't feel very nice in the hand. However, these are very scarce. Now that's got like a little T on the front, and I'm not 100% sure if that's going to come off or not. Not that it's going to make a great difference to this one, because this particular book is in quite a sorry old state, but it's so rare. I'm not getting rid of it, even though if it was something a bit more common, I wouldn't think twice. This would be in the bin, particularly with some missing pages and a bit of the spine out there as well, but also very, very dirty along the top. That's going to need a good brush. Inside though, I think he's okay. Yeah, there's no other sort of writing inside. Borderline on the bin, that one. Here's another one. This is a slightly more better condition, so you get an idea of what they should look like. It's got a big ninepence on the front there. There's a turned over page there. I said these are very, very fragile. The actual quality of the paper, it's like one step up from a newsprint, like an old newspaper. It really is. And although these aren't dated, I believe they're from the early 50s, so we're looking at like 51, 52, very, very early science fiction. Amateurs in Alchemy, John Deegan. Fantastic sort of alien-esque cover there as well, but look at the it's got spotting on the back. It's got all sorts going on here. It's not the greatest of shape, but to be honest, that's about as good as you're going to get on some of these. And I think the tops of them are awful, and they're going to really sort of benefit from a nice clean. But these early ones here, as you can see, they're thin little, almost like novellas really. This is number 39. This one actually is in really nice condition. So I guess this is, although a little bit later, this would have been what they looked like when they were brand new. John J. Deegan. Not sure who that was. It might have been a pseudonym for somebody. Andro the Life Giver. And they really sort of reek of 1950s sort of classic pulpy B-movie sort of fare, don't they? That one's actually really nice, and you can clearly see the little Panther logo there in the spine, top of the spine. Then inside though, the actual cheap paper again is evident. That's quite nice. That's really quite something, that one. I'm pleased to have that. Now we've got another one, slightly thicker again. Same format. The Venom Seekers. This is number 57. Brian Berry. And I don't think I've picked up any of these really, really early Panthers for 2 or 3 years now. I've not had a single one come my way. So they just don't really turn out. I think perhaps because they were made of such poor quality paper, they've maybe just not survived. Now this one, a similar sort of format, number 86, that was number 57, but a complete departure. So it's not got a blue or black spine. It's much more like a normal sort of book. All part of the same series. And once again, sci-fi. Slightly better quality paper. Still very, very thick though. Yeah, a bit of tanning on that one, but ultimately not bad. I think once again it's just going to be, as bits drop off it, it's just going to be the top. But that one really is not a bad little example of probably once again quite a scarce book. And value wise on these, I think if they're in top shape, you are probably looking at £15 to £20 each on these really rare ones. That's in top shape. Like that one down there, it's probably would get that sort of money. The lower grade ones, nowhere near as much, probably like £2-3 a piece. Here's an early one by John Burke, like Jonathan Burke. He went on to write loads of movie tie-ins. The Dark Gateway, nice cover as well. Shapes of Unknown Horror. This is number 94. Same old format. Big thick paper, pulpy paper. Yeah, very nice. That's actually really nice, that one. Now this one hasn't even got a back cover, look. Oh, and it feels horrible to the touch. It really does. This is number 109, The Metal Eater. Roy Sheldon. This is there on borrowed time. But because these are so scarce, I don't want to get rid of it. But there's not a lot I can do bar brush the edges of that one. But it's pretty awful. Now this is number 501. So the number has restarted. I'm not sure that is number, what was that, 109, wasn't it? So the numbering clearly went past 100, but then it did suddenly stop. It became a variety publisher, not just sci-fi, and then the numbering restarted at 500 or 501 with this one here. And this maybe was to capitalise on the popularity of Second World War fiction. So the Second World War had been finished at this point by about 10 years, and people amazingly were starting to get nostalgic for it, and some war memoirs were being big sellers, things like The Colditz Story, for example, The Longest Day. All these sorts of things were being published around this time, and every publisher wanted their next big war-related hit. So Panther were no exception. So they moved away from science fiction. This one actually does have a date now, March 1955. So you would assume that all of those that we've looked at were probably 53, 54 in date. I mean, to be honest, they've not needed a lot of work, but something like that. Look at the spine on this, the top on that has never been rubbed ever since I've had it. So, it's going to appreciate a clean. Pipeline to Battle, 503. Peter Rainier. Very nice. Now this from 504. This one, I believe, must be a reprint because it's in a slightly later format. It's a smaller size. It's much more like a traditional paperback, whereas these other ones are a bit more like a pulp. So I'm sure before we even look inside that this is an early reprint. But I shall be proved. Yeah, look at that. So published 55, the reprint in 1957. So yeah, a couple of years later, Panther were established by then, and they'd upped their game production quality wise. You can see this is a much more superior publication to those really early ones. But numerically, that's where it goes. And then the next one is 509, which is back to the original format again, with Rommel in the desert. Africa Corps. Bit of a beaten up old spine here. And it's funny, but Panther, particularly the earlier Panther, sort of pre 1965, are quite collectible, you know. Maybe because they just didn't, they haven't survived very well. I don't really know, but they are sort of sought after. Sunk. Look at that. Sunk. This one's got some tape over the spine to keep it in one piece. Ooh. What I think we'll do, we'll go through the whole lot, and then we'll do the buffing up, and then we'll do the polishing. So I'll wait till I've got a sizable pile, then we'll give them a brush. Officially Dead, Quentin Reynolds. The prisoner the Japs couldn't hold. Once again, lots of wartime, war-related memoirs. As I said, they were in vogue around this period in history, the mid-50s. It definitely was a period when people were craving this sort of content. And any self-respecting publisher would provide what people were looking for. Sound barrier. Neville Duke. This one's slightly off cut because you can see the writing goes up on the cover there. It's just sort of going up. It's a slightly off cut cover, but look at this. It's got photographs inside. First one of those we've seen, so it's gone a little bit more upmarket. 1955 again, but still keeping the same price of 2 shillings. That's interesting. Well, I think that's a suitable wedge there, and I'll give these a bit of a brush. So I'll split them into sort of 3 convenient piles, like so. And I've got my soft shoe brush here. Now I believe that we're going to get quite a bit off these, because look at the tops there, but as I said, I line them up and do the bottoms and sides first. Now at the weekend I was in here and I hoovered every last inch, because I realised that I'm in an enclosed environment here with potentially lots of dust flying around. So I gave it all a darn good hoover, and it made a big difference. Well, those particular ones weren't too bad, all things considered, but they are still going to need all of these are going to need a polish. I mean, there is literally nothing uniform about them. The sizes are different, the heights are different. They really, really were rough and ready when these were getting originally published. But all I can do is do my best with the books supplied. Quite a bit coming off there. Quite brittle pages as well. So doing this is going to cause the odd little flake to come off, but ultimately the book's better for it, you know, so I'm not overly worried. As I said, I haven't brought hundreds down with me today because these are going to take quite a bit of work. So I've split the Panthers into 2. The later ones, though, some fantastic titles, particularly some crime ones, but they shouldn't be so difficult to do, but we'll do them next week, maybe, or the week after. They're looking a lot better. As good as we can get, really. memoir, and making quite, you can see on the desk here the dust that gets generated by these. Just loads of it. Right then, cracking on. Frank Owen. This is 517, the Eddie Chapman story. I guess Eddie Chapman was a parachutist by the look of it. Maybe, I don't know. Evidently he had his wings. Descent into Danger. So these are all war related at the moment. That's quite interesting because they definitely go back into science fiction and crime and what have you later on. Descent into Danger, Scotty Young. Now I'm filming this during the day and I'm not sure if you can hear, but there seems to be some sort of plane or something flying around overhead. So let me rub out this 20 pence inside here. So yeah, apologies for the background noise, but sometimes it is what it is. I am in a not soundproof room, but I'm in a room which is designed to not give much echo and hopefully complement what you're hearing. But, you know, sometimes it can be a bit difficult. Now this is a nice copy, number 542, Prisoner's Bluff. That's got quite a lot of gloss still on the front jacket. Looks like it's got a really nice spine on it as well, so that's all good news. And even quite white pages, which is unusual. So I wonder if this is a reprint or not. Nope, first Panther edition from 1956. Look at that. It's a really, really nice copy, that one. Rolf Maginer, whoever he was. Very nice indeed. Fortress Tobruk, 548. All these war memoirs, incredible, isn't it? I guess they just kept publishing them until, in the hope that they would find a hit, you know? Another Colditz story. And now this is a reprint, look, published about the 56, reprinted 56 as well. But that's okay, I'm not going to worry about that because, you know, these books are so scarce in a lot of cases that even reprints or not, it honestly doesn't bother me. It's still a really nice all-round copy. Next is number 538. Sorry, 558. I Bought a Star. More war memoirs. This is one of the best war books I've read. The work of a man of action. It's funny just going through these. Bits of them are dropping off onto my table here. Another reprint from 1956. I do vaguely remember, you know, I bought quite a few sort of war memoirs around this time, and they were from all different sorts of publishers. I remember them being quite a selection of Panther ones in with them. Now look at this, at the bottom of the spine is missing. For number 570, A Very Ordinary Seaman. There we are, at Panther war books, all numbered from 500 up. So they're all war related. Well, that doesn't carry on, but evidently they relaunched it from the sci-fi into the war. 1956. 573, and they're approaching more normal size sort of paperbacks. A Spy Has No Friends. Lots of toning along the top there. But okay, we've only had a couple which have got that have had old prices in. But literally every time you go through, a few more bits of the books fall onto the table. No, this has got a picture cover. This is 588, a Panther book. For a moment, at first glance, I thought I had a Badger book in my hand. We've not seen them on this channel yet, but they're very much yellow like that, and they've got a Badger logo in the top cover. But this has got a photograph cover, and it's a Columbia Pictures. It's a very early movie tie-in, in fact. Still the traditional poor quality paper that we associate with Panther of this time. And the thing was, a post-war publisher, even though this is quite a long time after the end of the Second World War. Britain was still experiencing paper rationing, so that's why these are not in the greatest. They're not feeling that good, in the hand. Lower Deck. This is a classic Sam Peffer cover here. Good stuff. Peffer is one of my favourite artists, 1956. He worked predominantly for Pan Books, but you see his distinctive signature in there, bottom left corner. I met Pef just once in the mid-90s at a paperback show, and got him to sign lots of books. I didn't own that one at the time, else I would have taken that with me. Another great cover here by Cy Webb, The Valley of the Shadow. 6 years a prisoner of the Gestapo under sentence of death. Wow, nice copy of this one. That's a real sort of minter, that. Yeah, very, very nice, that one. Unlike this one, which isn't too bad on the face of it, but look, it's missing the bottom of the spine again. A whole piece of the spine's gone. Oh, look at that. First page is loose. Nothing I can really do about that except just keep it all together for now. Another escape one. 625, The Escaper's Log. The classic escape story of World War One. Thrilling and exciting. I'm a big fan of escape books, and this is one I haven't actually read, but I do like them. It's got a little £3 inside, and that, to be honest, £3 for one in this nice condition is probably absolutely fine. Don't mind paying that for that sort of for a book in this condition. Of this vintage, these are all 65, getting on 70 years old now, all the books we're looking at today. And that's a very nice condition one indeed. So that's lovely, that. Right, let's give these a brush. So we'll put them into 3 piles again. Like so. A few of these look worse than others. Not bad. Lots of dust coming off there. That's all right. Just about. These look pretty dirty. There we are. I think they look better. Still darker than I would like, but I think it's just down to the paper. It's just aged. Lovely. So 627, Calculated Risk. Big thick one, this. Death in the Bright Day. Mary Fitz, 632. Yeah, so that's not a war book. That's the first sort of regular fiction we've seen. And it's a crime title. So being a dedicated war publisher didn't last too long for Panther. And they moved into other genres. Gideon Goes to War. This is the Panther, a Panther Book of the Month, number 10. Leonard Mosley. 6. I think I've had this one a long time. (1957) now, so we've moved on a year. Now this is a real favourite of mine. Alcatraz, Island Prison. James A. Johnston, the first warden of Alcatraz. How cool is that? I was lucky enough to get to visit Alcatraz in I think it was 2019. Absolutely fantastic. Or 2018 it was. Really, really enjoyable. If you ever get a chance, do give Alcatraz a visit. It's really good. Then we've got 644, Cry Korea. And even though the page quality is not great, it has remained fairly supple, you know. They're not sort of dried up, even on the very earliest ones. Now this one's going to need a bit of glue on that top bit there, but the execution of Private Slovic. Oh dear. They put Slovic against a wall and shot him, but why? Alright, now that one just needs a tiny little bit of glue in there. To be honest, there hasn't been any dodgy spines to glue, but I'm using that Pritt stick here and just get a little slither on the end of my screwdriver, like so. Get a second bit in there. It should be enough. There we are. There we are, just a little bit, which if we hadn't have fixed that, potentially that could have got even worse, but that's pushed it down now. It saved what was there anyway. Evidently, with the fact that so many of these have got slightly dodgy spines, they weren't printed on the best quality paper. However, this is another one which is in supreme condition. I think I bought these at one of the London paperback fairs, and they were pretty reasonably priced. Like about maybe £3 each, something like that. Because this is virtually new. No price in that one, but that is virtually mint. And compared to some of the other ones at the period, I mean, that's really something in it. That's really been well looked after. Nicholas Montserrat, 3 Corvettes. Famous author. Not one of his that I actually know. 1958, this one's dated. The Cretan Runner. He fought on in occupied Crete under the grinding Nazi heel. Nice jacket on it. I can't see an illustrator's signature, but it's a good one. Photo insert. A little bit of tannin on this one, but it's all right. Yeah, nice copy of that. 6.59. This is a 50s one if you ever seen it. Look, flying saucers have landed. This is going to really benefit from a polish. This one. Desmond Leslie, George Adamski. How cool is this? I've had this one in a long time. Someone else has repaired the bottom of the spine there. Not me. I'll put a bit of glue in there in a minute. Repair that bit. And potentially a little bit in the top as well. Yeah, that's been glued down, but they haven't done a very good job. But I think this is one that I've had a long time. Ever since I, been collecting paperbacks. It's a nice one to have as well, because it's UFOs is a good subject, to be honest. So let's slide some glue in. Just want to squeeze a bit under there. There we are. Just that little bit there that's come out. Pinch it together and push down. Like so. I need to do the same at the top. Just because what was done beforehand, it wasn't that great a job. There we are, just push that in. Really is very old and crusty glue, but if my Pritt stick can just keep it in one piece a little bit longer, then that's okay. Big thick one here. Kenneth Dobson. Away all boats. The battle cry of the South Pacific. That's a good read. I bet that's a cracking read, that one. 430 pages, so it's not a short read. That's by, anyone can see that, but the Battle of the Pacific was really something. The Mouchette Diaries, 681. This is another one with going to benefit from a little bit of gluing. Few pages needed turning back, but yeah, a little bit of glue just down this bit of spine here. Where it just seems to have got old and withered away, which is what happens. There we go. Wind in the Wires, 684. Having a little run of war memoirs again, aren't we? That one's alright, just dirty on top, like the other ones. The Drama of the Scharnhorst. Definitely a spine needing to be re-glued there. This one's got a little 50p or something in this corner here. So let's give that a rub out. glue in place here. So I need a little bit more. I think that's going to be enough. Let's just push it down. Yeah, I think we're going to be all right. Like so. Lovely. Operation West, 687. A parachutist's account of war in Indochina. And another one with a dodgy spine, bottom spine. Must have just been this period where they were all not that well made. But I think that's the story of Panther. They haven't stood the test of time like other books of the period, like the Pans and the Penguins, which were obviously produced to a better quality than these Panther books. I mean, by a mile, really. But I suppose that's what makes them scarce and a bit more collectible today, is the fact that they just haven't survived, and it's all about supply and demand. Not that war books have got massive collectability by any means, because they don't really. It's a good area to collect, because it's not like crime or sci-fi, which have got real devotees. War memoirs have not, although certain subgenres like the escaping ones, for example, there are people who collect escape books, and they're my most enjoyable war memoirs, particularly for camps that I've not heard of or not read something about before, you know. And then the last Panther we got today, this is a bit of a classic, and it's probably the most expensive book we'll see today. It's a very, very early one by L. Ron Hubbard, him of the Scientology. He started out writing science fiction, and this is a very early book by him, 1957. Quite collectible. I would imagine this is a £25 plus book, maybe even more, to the right person. It's got a little bit of very, very faint pencil marks inside, so I'm giving them the 1-2, like so. Inside there's appears to be something like some sort of print that's come off, but nothing too serious. But that's a real rarity, that one. Anyway, that's all the books cleaned and rubbed. Any prices rubbed out. I need to give them a brush off now, this final lot. And then we'll start the process of polishing. Let's sort these into a few convenient piles, so 4 piles, like so. Let's do this little lot first then. Give ourselves a bit of room. Here we are. Okay. quite dusty. Lovely. Right. Okay then, let's give these a bit of a polish. Right then, so I got my nice bit of clean cloth here and armed with my bottle of Mr. Sheen. Now I can't, on these particularly early ones, I can't go crazy simply because they're not that shiny covers, they're a bit pulpy. So I'm going to just delicately give them the once over, but I can't really get stuck in because they just can't handle it. So it's just a gentle glide over the surface is about all I can really do on these. They will still pick up muck, some of which we can't even see. We just have to be super careful. Lovely. So far, so good. I'm only putting tiny little blasts of polish on because I don't want to overdo it. But we're already into books which are a little bit more robust now, they're shinier covers. Literally can't touch that one. few signs of cigarette staining on the spine of that one. Feel the yellow come off there. So distinctive nowadays when you see it. What a mishmash these are, eh? Look at that. That is nicotine coming off there. That's what that was. Quite a bit of dust come off this one, that's good, because it's quite a nice copy as well. So I do hope you've been enjoying my cleaning videos, and although I only get to put one up a week, one new one a week, I've got quite a back catalogue now. And obviously, if you've not already, do check out my full-time YouTube channel. Just look up Jules Burt and you'll see lots of book-related content on there. Not all of it cleaning, but there is some repairing and restoring videos on that channel as well as this one. All my monthly pickups get put through the process as well. And that channel's been going for a few years now, so if you've not come across it before, do head over to take a look. Move along a bit on the duster here. A bit that I've been using has just about had it. That one feels much pulpier than some of the other ones of the period. Very unusual. Really nice one, this, the Escaper's Log. If only all my books could look that nice. That's a real beauty, that one. So yeah, next week I think it's either going to be the rest of the Panthers, or I may be doing the next lot of Pan books. I've already sorted out the next wedge of penguins to do. And although it may not look like it, I have actually taken stacks of dirt off these. Last handful now. So I hope you've enjoyed looking through these Panther books today. It's not something you see a lot of, but they certainly are quite scarce, and I think all of these did deserve a bit of a clean because they were not in the best of shape. If you have enjoyed what you've seen, do please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to check out the older videos on the channel because there's quite a few now. Got a reasonable back catalogue of stuff, and I've got over 600 on my other channel for you to dive into. Yeah, thank you very, very much for watching today. And I shall see you again next week with another cleaning video.